Gathering voices, building worlds. The Ampliverse.
Welcome back, everyone, to
The Tasting Room.
Today we're doing something a little different. Steve has blind poured these for us.
One is cyanide. We're playing a game of Russian roulette tonight.
We know what we're tasting, but we don't know which ones of these correspond to which one of the bottles. So today we are going to be tasting the Heaven's Door Sampler Pack.
Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door.
That's right, yeah. So this is Bob Dylan's personal brand, and if you notice...
I didn't know this was officially Bob Dylan's bourbon.
Yeah,
That's
it
fun.
is.
Okay.
So this is a celebrity bourbon.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, so there's a little message from Bob on the inside, and then these little smaller sized bottles. They are really cool looking bottles, and they are actually representations of the wrought iron doors that Bob Dylan creates in his studio, Black Buffalo Ironworks. There's actually a cool message from Bob that I will read before we get into tasting these. It says, "Gates appeal to me because of the negative space they allow. They can shut you out or shut you in, and in some ways there is no difference."
So what are the three different versions of the bourbon, bourbon that we have here?
So we know that in some arrangement in these glasses, we have the three varieties from Heaven's Door, which is their Tennessee bourbon, which is a straight bourbon, just like normal. The double barrel, which is the bourbon that's then aged in a second charred barrel, and then the straight rye whiskey. As far as proofs go, it does say here, the Tennessee straight bourbon whiskey is 90 proof, the double barrel is 100 proof, and the straight rye is 92 proof. So they're all pretty close, so we'll see if that can sort of be a guess as to which one is which.
Can I ask you how much this set was? Do you remember? This is
I think the set was around like $65.
And this set you're holding is not really a common set. This was one of those like Christmas sets.
This was
right?
like a holiday tasting pack.
Have you ever had this bourbon before?
No, this is the first time I'm drinking them. It's the first time you're drinking them. Steve's the only one that poured these, so it's like a game of Clue.
Yeah. So we're going to go mullet style, front to back.
It's going to be a party in the back by the time we get through all of this.
It's going to be a party in my mouth in a second.
So we are going to put this little pack down and get into the tasting. Cheers. That one's spicy. But that first sip's always kind of spicy.
I feel like I say every time I sniff a bourbon, this smells sweet. There is, am I wrong now? Is there
is a sweetness,
okay.
But I'm moving on to number 2.
Okay, we're just going straight through trying them? We're not,
we're
not describing
them.
But what do we taste though?
Well,
oh, we don't know?
I don't know. I'm trying to compare them.
Yeah, but what notes are you getting?
This is going so well.
I thought we should describe what they actually taste like though, at least one of them. I don't think this is the barrel proof. I'm going to say that right now. Having had
none
no
of them are
other
barrel
ones.
proof. You're talking about the double barrel.
I'm already right.
The double barrel, which is 100 proof.
So I don't think this is the double barrel.
I don't think it is either.
Not having had the other two, I just don't think the hug is as long lasting.
It doesn't have the hug, and it doesn't seem to be woody enough to be the double barrel. I feel like I expect more wood if it's being double aged.
Oh yeah. Middle.
That one has almost no smell. I can't.
No, I just get the
much discernible the ethanol.
Yeah. Someday we're gonna have bourbon and be like, I don't like this bourbon.
I think this might be the rye.
Well, now I don't want to say anything until we get to it, until we get through them all. So this is weird.
See, this
one smells like an apple.
Yeah, it smells like back in that bourbon territory. That's why I think the middle one is the rye.
This one this one was surprisingly spicy on my tongue. I don't know.
Look at the color with these two. See how this one's much darker?
This one's darker. Okay, I might be blind.
This one is darker. Do you see it? Next to each other. If you look at them next to each other, this one in my right hand is a little darker. I am going to speculate. Wait,
I'm not going to speculate.
One more taste.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm going to. Okay, I
The middle has to be the rye because there's like.
I think the last one is the barrel. I think the last
That's
one.
what I think too.
The last one is the double barrel, right? Am I saying that right? Double barrel, double barrel.
The middle one almost has like spearmint notes. Do you get like mintiness from that?
Are you having a stroke?
Maybe. You don't get like
No, I've gone
kind
too
of
quick.
medicinal, minty, herbal flavors out of that.
Okay, I understand what you mean by spearmint now. Not the literal mint, but when you
Like
said
it's
that,
like
I'm getting the sensation of when you put that.
Like a menthol
meth.
flavor. Meth flavor.
Okay.
Okay.
I think double, original,
And I think the rye is
rye is the middle. I think because the rye almost has that like extra punch of flavor.
That's what I think too. And it's like a totally different flavor than the other two. I would say that these ones. Oh, he left us a note.
He left a
Wait,
note
what
has
does
been
this
left.
say?
What does the Academy
It
say?
says, open this side.
Okay, well here's the thing. It's a piece of paper, so I'm not really sure how you would open the wrong side.
And the envelope goes to.
We were correct.
Yeah!
It is Tennessee Bourbon was our first try. Number
the rye.
2 was the rye, and
And
number
the
3
du-
was the double
All
barrel.
right,
God, go
uptown.
team. Uptown. Up top. Uptown girl. That's Billy Joel. Let me read what the double barrel description is.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 whiskeys in this blend age for 6 years, then come together in new American oak barrels for an additional year, imparting notes of caramel, oak, citrus, and spice.
Yeah, and I really get that scent. Like you with these two on the ends, with the straight bourbon and with the double barrel, you can smell those classic bourbon smells, bourbon flavors, the like vanilla.
So the Tennessee Bourbon, which was the first one we tried, aged in new American oak barrels for a smooth blend with notes of vanilla and baked bread layered over rich toasted oak.
I don't know that I'm getting a lot of bread from that.
No, I don't think
The
so.
bread
either. I'm not
that-
getting a lot of vanilla either, to be honest.
Yeah.
But the straight rye whiskey, that was hand-tossed oak cigar barrels from Vosges, France. That was definitely not said correctly.
From France.
Give our straight rye whiskey notes of orange peel, coriander, and spice for a more approachable
I think
sip.
it must be that coriander then that I'm thinking is spearmint. Like in that the herbal.
Which one was the rye? The one in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like coriander is one of those things that you say, oh, coriander, and you're like, what is that coriander?
I
It's
always
like,
just assume it's cinnamon.
It's like oregano. You're like, oh, that goes on pizza, right?
Yeah, and then you're like, I don't know what the hell it tastes like. I can't separate a flavor like that unless it's cilantro because that tastes like garbage.
Yep. Soap. Sorry, we're on that team.
What an experience. Okay.
This is cool. First of all, I think it's cool that we were right because
Yeah.
that would have been really embarrassing for us if we
Totally.
were wrong. And that was a sealed note, as you could see.
Yeah.
A
Taped.
tape. I gotta say, I don't think that these are my favorite.
I know. I don't mean to
I
speak
feel
ill
bad,
of Mr. Dillon's
yeah.
liquor, but
I mean-
they're just of what I have had here in the bourbon study throughout what you're going to see. I feel like they're not bad,
No.
but they're not. I don't want to use the word forgettable because it feels mean.
Yeah, I would say if anything, the rye was the most.
Yeah.
Out of this is like something that's like I don't normally like rye-based whiskeys. Typically, they're too spicy for me, or they're too like bitey. They don't have that nice like desserty flavor. But I would say that this was very approachable rye.
Yeah.
So out of this pack, like the bourbon, the straight bourbon was kind of like maybe a 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Compared to some others that we've had for the same price point. But I would say if you're trying to like start getting into rye and you're like, I don't know what's for me, pick up the Heaven Store rye because this
Yeah.
is a very drinkable rye whiskey.
I can imagine this one with some sort of like I know it said orange and coriander and spice. That makes me think like maybe there's a good Thanksgiving drink in here with like
Yeah.
orange and cinnamon
Well,
sticks
and a
or
lot
something.
of times, like people prefer to use rye for things like Sazeracs and for old fashions and some of that.
Yeah,
stuff.
I was going to say with the orange bitters in this one, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it. That is Heaven's Door. Those are the, again, Tennessee Bourbon, double barrel whiskey, and the straight rye whiskey. So if you have some bourbons that you've seen or tried that you want, that you recommend that we should go and try, you'd like to see what we think of it, we would love some comments on that. We want to know what your favorite bourbon is. What are you drinking? Have you tried a new bourbon?
Yeah.
We want to know. So leave us some comments. Get in touch with us. You can follow us on the Twitter, The Bourbon Study. You can send us an email, thebourbonstudy@gmail.com. And of course, like we already said, you can leave some comments here. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, of course. And
I think, honestly, the bottles are the coolest part of this whole thing. I think that's what attracted them to me. So I think we should try to find a craft that we can do with that.
I was going to say there is something that we have come across some beautiful bottle work designs that it would be a shame to just kind of recycle these, or we should recycle them in an upcycle. So we should repurpose.
Stay tuned for crafting.
Ooh, the Bourbon Study. Crafting. So thank you all for joining us here, and we will be back with another episode of The Bourbon Study.
Cheers.